The forest was buzzing. Birds chirped, insects hummed, and the rustling of leaves created a symphony of nature. The air was filled with anticipation and a sense of urgency. Today was unlike any other day in the forest. Today was a big day. Animals from every corner of the forest had gathered, each with a look of determination and concern. The Great Animal Kingdom trial was about to commence, and everyone knew the stakes were high. It was the day of the Great Animal Kingdom trial. The clearing had been transformed into a grand courtroom, with logs and stones arranged meticulously to accommodate the attendees. The atmosphere was electric, filled with whispers and murmurs. Judge Owl, wise and old, sat on his perch. His feathers were a mix of grays and browns, and his eyes, sharp and piercing, scanned the crowd. He was known for his fairness and wisdom, and today, his judgment would be crucial. He looked over the clearing, taking in the sight of the gathered animals. From the smallest ant to the largest elephant, they were all here, united by a common cause. The tension was palpable.
Order! Order! Judge Owl's voice echoed through the clearing, silencing the whispers and bringing everyone's attention to the front. The trial was about to begin. This court is now in session! The animals settled down, their eyes fixed on Judge Owl. The gravity of the situation was evident on their faces.
The animals whispered amongst themselves. They exchanged worried glances and hushed conversations. The future of their home was at stake, and the outcome of this trial would determine their fate. They knew this was a big one. The case was unlike any other they had faced before. It wasn't about a dispute between two animals or a territorial disagreement. This was about the very survival of their forest. The case was about humans. The animals had long been troubled by the actions of humans. Their presence in the forest had brought nothing but destruction and chaos. The animals believed humans were bad news. They had seen the damage firsthand. Trees were cut down, rivers were polluted, and the natural balance of the forest was disrupted. They chopped down trees and polluted the rivers. The once pristine forest was now marred by the scars of human activity. The animals had had enough, and they were determined to take a stand. The animals wanted them gone. They had come together to demand justice and to protect their home. The trial was their chance to make their voices heard, and to hold the humans accountable for their actions.
The humans have caused much trouble. Their actions have led to the destruction of habitats, the displacement of animals, and the degradation of the environment. The animals were united in their resolve to put an end to this. But do they deserve to be banned from the forest forever? This was the question that weighed heavily on everyone's mind. While the humans had caused harm, the animals also knew that coexistence was possible if the humans changed their ways.
Everyone gasped. This was serious. The trial would determine not only the fate of the humans but also the future of the forest. The animals braced themselves for the proceedings, knowing that the outcome would shape their world for generations to come. First up was Lionel the lion. He was the strongest animal in the forest and also a little grumpy. Lionel had seen many changes in his forest over the years, and most of them were not for the better. The trees he once roamed freely were now sparse, and the rivers he drank from were polluted. He had a lot to say about the humans and their impact on his home.
Raw humans are nothing but trouble. They take our homes and scare away our food. They leave trash everywhere. They come into our forest with their loud machines and cut down our trees. They don't care about us or our homes. They only think about themselves and their needs. They have no respect for the forest and the creatures that live here. Every day it gets harder for us to find food and shelter. They are destroying our way of life.
The other animals nodded in agreement. They had all experienced the negative effects of human activity. Next was Penelope the panda. She was a gentle soul, but even she was upset. Penelope had always been a peaceful creature, spending her days munching on bamboo and enjoying the tranquility of the forest. But lately, things had changed. The bamboo forests were disappearing, and with them, her food source.
They chopped down my bamboo forests. Where will I find food? Without bamboo, I cannot survive. The humans don't understand how important these forests are to us. They think they can just take and take without any consequences. But their actions are hurting us. We need these forests to live. Without them, we have nothing. They are destroying our homes and our future.
The animals all agreed. Humans were the worst. They had all suffered because of human actions. Their homes were being destroyed, their food sources were disappearing, and their lives were becoming more difficult every day. But then, someone spoke up. It was a voice that hadn't been heard yet in the meeting, and it brought a new perspective to the discussion.
Wait, We have something to say. Not all humans are bad. Some of them are trying to help us. They are planting trees and cleaning up the rivers. They are working to protect our homes and make the forest a better place for all of us. We should not judge all humans based on the actions of a few. There are good humans out there who care about us and our home. We need to work with them to make things better.
It was the dogs. They had been watching the discussion quietly, but now they felt it was time to speak up. They had seen both the good and the bad sides of humans. They knew that while some humans were causing harm, others were working hard to make a positive difference. The dogs believed that by working together with the good humans, they could help protect the forest and create a better future for all the animals. Everyone turned to see a pack of dogs pushing their way through the crowd. They had Buddy, the golden retriever, leading the way.
We speak for the humans!
The animals gasped again. This was unheard of. Why would dogs defend humans?
Silence! Let the dogs speak!
The forest was completely quiet. Everyone wanted to hear what the dogs had to say. Buddy wagged his tail nervously.
Humans aren't all bad. They give us food and comfy beds. They scratch our bellies and take us for walks.
The other dogs barked in agreement.
They teach us tricks. They play fetch with us. They cuddle with us when we're sad.
The animals weren't convinced. This was ridiculous. How could the dogs defend these horrible creatures?
Marmalade, the mischievous monkey, jumped from tree to tree.
This is Bananas. You're supposed to be on our side.
Yeah, humans put us in cages.
The other birds chirped in agreement. They didn't like humans much either.
We know some humans make mistakes, but not all humans are bad. They can learn to be better.
That's ridiculous. They hunt us.
And trap us in their nets.
The dogs were outnumbered. The animals were angry. Even Judge Owl seemed to be losing his patience. Judge Owl hooted loudly, silencing the crowd. He looked at the dogs, his eyes serious.
We have heard enough. The dogs have spoken in favor of humans, but the evidence is against them. Humans are a danger to the forest.
A hush fell over the clearing. What would happen to the dogs? What would happen to the humans?
For siding with the humans, dogs are hereby banned from the forest.
The animals gasped. This was a harsh punishment. The dogs whimpered. They couldn't believe it. No more chasing squirrels in the woods. No more swimming in the lake. No more belly rubs from their humans.
Finally, we are rid of humans!
The other animals joined in, celebrating their victory. The dogs were rounded up and taken away. It was a somber sight as the once free-spirited canines were now being escorted by the stern animal guards. Their tails, which usually wagged with joy, now hung low, reflecting their heavy hearts. The forest, their home and playground, was now a distant memory as they trudged along the unfamiliar path. They were sad to leave the forest, but they knew they had done the right thing. The forest had been their sanctuary, a place where they could run freely and chase butterflies. But now, it was time to face the consequences of their actions. They had stood up for what they believed in, and even though it meant leaving their beloved forest, they had no regrets. They believed in humans, even if no one else did. Despite the hardships and the misunderstandings, the dogs had always seen the good in humans. They remembered the kind hands that fed them, the gentle voices that called their names, and the warm laps they curled up on during cold nights. Their faith in humanity was unwavering, and they hoped that one day, humans would see them as more than just animals. As they were led away, Buddy looked back at the cheering animals. The other animals in the forest had gathered to show their support. They knew the dogs had sacrificed their freedom for a greater cause. Buddy's heart swelled with pride and sadness as he saw the tears and smiles of his friends. He knew they were counting on him to make things right. He wagged his tail sadly. It was a bittersweet moment. The wagging of his tail was a sign of hope, a promise that he would return. But the sadness in his eyes told a different story. He was leaving behind everything he knew and loved. The forest, his friends, and the life he had always known. But he was determined to come back no matter what it took. He hoped one day humans and animals could all live together in peace. Buddy dreamed of a world where there were no barriers between species, where trust and love prevailed over fear and misunderstanding. He imagined a place where dogs, humans, and all animals could coexist harmoniously, sharing the same space and resources without conflict. It was a dream that kept him going, even in the darkest of times. But for now, he had a jailbreak to plan. Buddy's mind was already racing with ideas. He knew the layout of the place they were being taken to, and he had friends on the inside who could help. It wouldn't be easy, but Buddy was nothing if not resourceful. He was determined to free not just himself, but all the dogs who had been unjustly imprisoned. The fight for freedom was just beginning, and Buddy was ready to lead the charge.